Trump administration, I would go into the office, I would read my intelligence brief, and then it was my job to help the Department of Homeland Security to keep our country safe. What we saw week in and week out, and for me, after 2.5 years in that administration, was terrifying. We would go in to try to talk to him about a pressing national security issue, cyber attack, terrorism threat. He wasn't interested in those things. To him, they weren't priorities. The president wanted to exploit the Department of Homeland Security for his own political purposes and to fuel his own agenda.
That's just a little bit of it. The whole thing is even more stunning. Those claims made by a former top official at the Department of Homeland Security telling us what he saw as a series of troubling scenes unfolding every single day at the Trump White House. A political member of the Trump administration who voted for Trump 4 years ago and now says he just can't and won't and will be voting for Joe Biden this time around. His name is Miles Taylor. He also wrote an op-ed appearing in the Washington Post in which he calls Trump dangerous for America. He writes this, quote, top DHS officials were regularly diverted from dealing with genuine security threats by the chore of responding to these inappropriate and often absurd executive requests at all hours of the day and night. One morning, it might be a demand to shut off congressionally approved funds to a foreign ally that had angered him. And that evening, it might be a request to sharpen the spikes atop the border wall so that they'd be more damaging to human flesh. Quote, how much would that cost us? Meanwhile, Trump showed vanishingly little interest in subjects of vital national security interest, including cybersecurity, domestic terrorism, and malicious foreign interference in U.S. affairs. Let's bring into this conversation independent Maine Senator Angus King, who is a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Senator, I mean, first, your reaction to this inside account that tracks almost exactly to the testimony of the 17 witnesses in the impeachment investigation.
Well, first, Nicole, I want to congratulate you on the new program.
Thank you.
When I'm talking to my grandchildren, forget senator, governor. It's going to be, I was on the premiere of Nicole Wallace's new show. I mean, this is a big deal.
That's too kind. Thank you.
No, I read that piece this morning, and my immediate reaction was, it's totally believable.
Yeah.
That's what's really sad about it. And this is somebody who was literally in the room where it happened. He saw it and heard it. And I think, Nicole, it goes to a deeper problem here, and that is that this is a man who's never had anyone say no to him in his life, and he never was accountable to anybody. My son asked me a couple of years ago, did he have a board of directors on his company in New York? And I said, I don't think so. It was a family-owned company. Here he is. He thinks he's the president of the CEO of America, and it's a family-owned company. He can't stand any kind of opposition, a judge, the Congress, cabinet members that speak out. He can't tolerate that. He thinks he's going to run everything out of his hip pocket. And what worries me, and I saw your previous interview, and I've said this to privately to some of my Republican colleagues, because he seems to have no limits, I worry about what might happen between now and November, given the fact that it appears that he may well lose this election. I worry about something he could do that would be truly dangerous. Messing around, monkeying with the post office, sabotaging the census and the post office, that's bad enough. But I got to tell you, and I'm not going to speculate on what it is, but it's what really keeps me awake at night.
Well, I won't press you to speculate on what it is, but I'd like for you to reassure our viewers what could be done about it, because I think there is a real sense that no one can stop him, that Mueller tried and failed, that the impeachment process was a noble effort, but ultimately Republicans didn't even want to hear from a right-winger's right winger, and John Bolton in that process failed. And he's only emboldened every time he runs against a guardrail and steamrolls right over it.
Well, that's a legitimate question. And here's the problem, Nicole. Congress can do some things. We can hold hearings. We can try to hold people to account, put people under oath, cut off the funding. But ultimately, there's a reason that it's called the administration. They're in charge of administering the laws. And there's a huge amount of sort of flexibility. And what we're seeing with the post office, he puts his friends on the board. They choose a Republican donor, and, he's sabotaging the post office. Can you imagine taking away mailboxes.
Well, let me
And
press you. I mean,
mail sorting machines. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and it's both malicious and incompetent, which is a bad combination.
so Congressman Jeffries and Lieu have referred, have asked the FBI to look into whether the two statutes I read have been violated, basically slowing or hindering or interfering with mail, which Donald Trump seems to be doing on his Twitter feed, in which the pictures that have popped up organically over the last few days confirm is being done. I mean, would you join your Democratic colleagues in the House in calling on FBI Director Wray to open a criminal investigation?
Well, I think it should be looked into. I don't know if I'm ready to go as far as to say a criminal investigation, but I think there should be some discussion of exactly what's going on. I mean, if you or I went out and pried somebody's mailbox off the wall of their house, that's a crime. And so to pry mailboxes out of the city streets, and particularly if it appears that the intent is to keep people from exercising their right to vote. That's what's so heartbreaking about this, is trying to put people in a position where they have to choose between their health or being able to exercise their constitutional right to vote. That's just unconscionable. So the answer is, I think it does bear investigation. And if it's found that these changes are being made for impermissible political reasons, it should be pursued. The post office is not a business. The Army doesn't turn a profit. The Department of Agriculture doesn't turn a profit. The post office serves the entire country, and it serves, particularly, I'm from a rural state, it serves low-income and elderly people and veterans in rural areas. That it doesn't make economic sense, but that's what that's the whole idea of the post office. That's why it was in the Constitution. It's a fundamental part of our national infrastructure, and I've never seen anything like this. And there may be issues. We can argue about what the right package rate should be and all of those kinds of things, but not in the middle of a pandemic, not in the middle of an election. That's just I was born last night, or I was born at night, but it wasn't last night. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.